In fact, our next guest suggests that young people are making up 47% of voters. So what is that going to mean for voting intentions? Well, the Tomorrow Movement says that both of our political parties are flushing our future down the toilet. In fact, they put up a protest over the last 24 hours, making that quite specific, installing toilets outside the offices of several of our political representatives. Quite seriously, what does this mean for voting over the next election? Jack Simmons is with the Tomorrow Movement and joins us now here at ABC Illawarra. Hello, Jack.
Good morning, Nick. Thanks for having me.
How would you describe the Tomorrow Movement?
Yeah, the Tomorrow Movement is a nationwide movement of young people, and we are organising in our communities all across the country to fight for good jobs, great public services, and a safe climate for all.
If both Labor and Liberal parties are flushing our future down the toilet, what does this mean for voting intentions amongst your own members?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Nick. I think, as you mentioned in the introduction, this is an election where Gen Z and millennials will make up 47% of the voting population, and an election where, for the first time ever, there will be more voters under 35 than baby boomers. And this comes at a time when young people are at the forefront of multiple crises, right? We've heard Labor talk about cost of living. We know that the housing crisis is a big deal that affects young people and renters especially, and also the cost of living crisis. I think, what this budget shows us and what, the coalition in the past and through their budget reply shows us is that neither of these major parties have the ambition to really transform these crises we face at their heart. And therefore, I think risk alienating a really big part of the voting population.
Do you think this means that we'll have so many young people voting teal or green or independent, and therefore we'll end up with a minority government, which will have to negotiate these kind of issues?
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Like, that's what the polling has said now for a little while. What I really want to make clear is that, we believe that the major parties, can have that ambition. We saw that from Scott Morrison, of all people, during the COVID-19 pandemic, when he, doubled income payments overnight. Governments can take big action to really tangibly make people's lives better. I just don't think that's what they're doing right now.
Well, that is interesting, that we can find the money if we really need it. And we didn't see any movement in, say, youth allowance or Centrelink benefits in the latest budget. Is that a significant issue for you and other young people?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We did see some good things, like talking to that cost of living crisis that so many in our community are facing in terms of GP bulk billing and price caps on pharmaceuticals. And, if you compare that to the past, where home ownership was within reach for folks on a median income, we had a welfare system that enabled people to live outside poverty if they were not working. The difference is quite stark. So, what we're really asking both major parties for is transformative change that really tackles the heart of the issues that we face.
Right. Well, we'll have policy boffins sitting at a table sharpening their pencils as we speak. The budget's one thing, but an election campaign is where the big policies start to come out. What would you like to see?
Yeah. I think, Nick, what I would like to see is a recognition that young people make up a really large part of the electorate, the biggest ever, and ambition to tackle things like cost of living and climate and housing at their roots to enable all of us, not just young people, to have a future that is safe and that is just.
Have you got specific policies that might address that? Or it's up to the parties themselves to come up with?
Yeah, I think, there are some places we can start, like, for example, not approving any new coal mines would be a fantastic place to start addressing the climate crisis. I think, what we are trying to do is trying to kind of build the power in our society to enable the governments to write the policy and to fill in the specifics.
Mm. In the meantime, you did a bit of a stunt over the last day or so with literally sitting on toilets outside politicians' offices. How did that go down?
Yeah. Really good question. I think, this is never something that I would imagine myself doing. I guess I come to this from being worried about the impacts of climate change, and used to work in that field, used to work doing climate research at a university, and then kind of was confronted by that crisis during the Black Summer bushfires, and that kind of made me realize, right? I had tried to, go about things the way that we're taught to, get a job in the field, advocate through those channels. Tried meeting with MPs. I think, young people are kind of forced to take this kind of, I guess, funny and disruptive action because we've tried everything else and we haven't seen that transformative change that we're asking for.
Are there people within your movement that can see themselves in politicians sometime in the future? Actually standing for election?
Yeah, absolutely. We're a movement of young people. And, to run, for example, as an independent is something that, requires a bunch of unpaid time when things like welfare support payments don't allow folks to live outside poverty. I think there is barriers for young people without kind of established financial security. But yeah, absolutely in the future, especially if we win some of these things that could enable it.
All right, Jack Simmons, good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks very much for your time, Nick. Appreciate it.
Jack Simmons from the Tomorrow Movement here at ABC Illawarra.